be talking about hummingbirds. And many people are fascinated with hummingbirds because they're very unique and different than other birds. And they're very curious and interested to learn about these birds. One interesting tidbit that I've learned about hummingbirds is that they're found only in the Western Hemisphere. And so since they're only found in the Western Hemisphere, they're absent from the traditional fairy tales, legends, and myths. However, there's a rich supply of these stories about these tiny birds in Native American mythology. Let me give you an example. Mayan culture, there's a legend that says the hummingbird is actually the sun in disguise flying around here on Earth. So that's a pretty cool example. And there have been many fairy tales, myths, legends, and also Western art in our hemisphere that depict hummingbirds throughout history. And hummingbirds are very small, and the smallest hummingbird is found in Cuba and it weighs about 2.2 grams. That's right, a mere 2.2 grams, and that bird is called the bee hummingbird. In South America, hummingbirds tend to be larger, weighing 20 grams. These hummingbirds are called great hummingbirds. And there are different types of great hummingbirds, such as the ruby throat hummingbird, the black throat hummingbird, and other types of great hummingbirds. The ruby throat hummingbird is actually the most common found in Cuba, and they are about 3 3/4 inches tall. Most people are primarily fascinated with the wings of a hummingbird, and their wing beat rate is so fast, it's 50 times per second, and that is just 1 second, 50 times. That is remarkable. For example, during courtship, hummingbirds' wing beat rate can reach up to 200 times per second. That is just phenomenal. Now, hummingbird wings are different than other birds. For example, they only have shoulders, but they don't have elbows or wrists, which means their wings do not bend like other birds. And this results in them flying differently than other birds, and they fly in a figure-8 type motion. Of course, we can't see that with the naked eye, but they fly in a figure-8 motion. And this means that they can fly in multiple directions, including upside down. One of the obvious characteristics of a hummingbird is their long, thin beak. And inside of that beak, they've got a tongue. And so it's very interesting to see when hummingbirds approach an open flower. They approach, and when they go in to extract nectar, you can see their tongue come out through their beak, and it is actually very see-through. And they do this, and when they go extract nectar, they go in and out of flowers very quickly. Another interesting fact about hummingbird is that they do have feet, but they're very, very tiny. And their feet are actually only used for a few purposes. For example, they cannot walk, hop, or stand. And so they use their feet pretty much to just perch on metal or trees, to scratch themselves, or to clean themselves. So other than that, their feet are basically worthless, and they're very, very teeny. For example, if a hummingbird needed to move 2 inches forward, they wouldn't be able to walk and do that, so they would actually have to fly. And another amazing thing about hummingbirds are their nests. And for example, if you were to take an English walnut and if you were to break that in half, a hummingbird nest is the same size as 1/2 of that walnut. It's very, very tiny. And it's very fascinating how they go about making their nest. First, they go out and search for spider webs that are often found on the bottom of the roofs of houses. And they gather spider webs, and they start out with the spider webs. It's a sort of cement or a foundation to their nest. And they lay that out, and then they go gather different materials from trees, such as moss, plant fibers, or lichen, and they attach that to the spider web and build the nest from that. After their nest is built, they're able to lay eggs. And when they lay the eggs, they're about 1/2 inch in size. And then they hatch in about 16 to 24 days or 16. Actually, I think it's 16 to 22 days their eggs hatch, which is actually 3 weeks after they're laid. And it's just an amazing sight. Many people are also fascinated with making bird feeders. Well, not making bird feeders, but actually setting up hummingbird feeders. And so they can attract hummingbirds and observe them while they eat. And so if you go to the store, you'll see many different shapes and sizes of bird feeders, balloon-shaped or fin-shaped. But mostly the important thing is you need to get one that is red, because